Thanks for staying with us. We're still having our African-themed Christmas, but first our hot topic. So all of us are minding our business. And then the Ooni of Ife's wife sent a message. Hey, the whole of Nigeria have been talking since yesterday. So the news broke that the wife of the Ooni of Ife recently announced a divorce, actually yesterday, from her husband, from the king, His Royal Majesty. The news came to us obviously as a rude shock. And we'd like to hear your thoughts. Not on the matter, because even we've heard from the palace. The palace has said that maybe somebody hacked into our account. So because we're not even sure if it is true, because you know this in Nigeria, things happen overnight. So the crux of what our conversation today is not on the matter that happened in the palace. The crux of our conversation is this new emancipated move of a woman who says, I'm not happy. And I'm ready to leave. I can't continue. There's this new air around. And women who say, you know what, I'm not going to just manage or endure this sadness or what I'm going through because I want to look a certain way. I want people to call me Mrs. XYZ. I'm willing to take that stand and leave. Now, this is a new, I wouldn't say call it so new, but it's becoming more an acceptable option in society. And I'd like to hear the thoughts of Nigerians on it. Should women who find themselves in this kind of shoes, where, listen, you're not happy, and not just you're not married, you're married to a regular man, you're married to a very prominent person, you had a prominent wedding, the whole world knows about you, can you have the same confidence, or should you have the same confidence that the Ooni of Ife's wife, Olori Naomi, had to say that she's done? Please, I'd like to hear from you this morning. You can call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. I would love to hear your thoughts. Please send us messages on YouTube and Facebook also. So, as I was saying that, because the story is still developing, we don't wait to hear from the king. Let the king to come and say his own. The palace are saying that somebody hacked into our account. Let us give it a few days. But since this is our last show, our last live show, the show is still going to run on Monday, our last live show, let us hear your thoughts on the fact that when women are going through sadness, unhappiness, and they have children, should they still endure like our parents and our mothers did? Or take the bold step of saying, I'm done? Should I start with Nima? It's too risky to start with Nima.
It's not risky.
Go ahead, Nima.
So, you know me, the option to go is for a reason. It's for your sanity. And I want to advocate work at it. Because I have worked at mine. Mine was not a bed of roses. I worked at mine, and so it's becoming a comfortable bed. Yes. So I would not say just work out. Anything good, you work at it. Anything nice, the grass is greener where they wet it. So it's a process. It's something you have to do. But I've seen women who have done it. Imagine somebody do it for 30 years and still walk away. It means that everything she did was like water in a basket. Everything, it has to be two parties. You know, marriage is a two-party thing. And both of them have to be working to make it work. You can't be going at somebody, working to make a marriage work, where the other party is saying, don't want to swear. You know, there's a language that some of my clients I have worked with in the past say, they'll say, their husbands will say, I will deal with you. I will make this house choke you. You will go by yourself. And I always wonder, what's the gain? Why should the house choke the other person? It means that I will not work at this marriage. I will not be in this marriage with you. We're living as housemates. And, you know, a lot of things. Some women, it's just, can I just be heard? For some, is can I just be held? For some, is as simple as, you know, simple things like that, that you'll be wondering. It's not about money for some. But that's one thing that they're asking for. It's enough to cause insanity. Enough that, you know, women end up with worse mental health cases that they are now dealing with.
But okay, let me come to you. Let me come to you, because somebody would look at a queen who lives in a palace, have lots of people at your disposal. You can say what you want, you can ask for what you want and get it. You know, what else do you want? I mean, you have a beautiful son, a prince. You know, even though you're married to a king, so you know there will always, she said there are other side attractions. Oh yeah, there will be side attractions because you're married to a king. But you have what a lot of people will say, everything. So why would you say, you know what, I'm done?
Because in the end, it's not really about the packaging. It's not about the materialistic or material things, possessions that you have. It's really about friendship and companionship. I cannot even imagine living in a house with someone and that person is not my friend, that person is not my supporter or my support system, and that person is not my companion, is not the person that I can, rub minds with, does not listen to me, does not hear me out. If those things are lacking, and I have all the riches in the world, and I have all the gold and diamond and money in the world, I still will not be happy. And you are talking about this new wave of women, and I think women are choosing differently. Before, all you had to be is a man who looked a certain way, who had money, had access, influence, and network, and that was supposed to be enough. And whatever it is that you went through in marriage or go through in marriage, just keep that aside. That's not important. Nobody really wants to hear it. You can come out and say, I am queen, I am Mrs., and here are my children, and look at the seeds that, we have from this union, and that's all. But women are understanding that happiness is now on the table. I also want to be happy. Yes, I would like to have all these things, but I can also have it with happiness. We used to see a lot of white people do it, or people in the Western world, and we thought they were selfish. But then, now that we're asking ourselves questions, we are realizing what is more important. And so I was saying, because we were discussing with my husband, I said, we need to teach our children. No, it was my mom I was talking to. I said, we need to teach our children differently what to choose in a man. It's not because it's not enough. You find some people, they're in a relationship. They are not married yet. It's a toxic relationship. Yes. But he has a car. He's a banker. He has a house. He's paying rent. So that's enough. You should be happy. That's good enough for you. But there should be more. There should be, and the more is not necessarily more money, more. It's just, does this person truly care for me? Does this person truly want the best for me? Does this person want to really spend their life with me? And I think that's what it's about.
I think you really hit the nail on the head. And I love what you said earlier, that that it's about the choices women are choosing to make today.
Yes.
The new choices. So there's nothing new. We're only making new choices. And the education, enlightenment, exposure is showing us that, listen, there are options, there are ways of doing things regardless of how our parents have taught us. But let me come to talk about, what are your initial thoughts on this new wave?
So I think that we've become a bit more selfish we've become a bit more selfish. And selfish doesn't always have to be bad, but we must address selfishness as selfishness. So we've always focused on marriage as per, I'm married, I'm committed, I will stay. It might be tough, I would stay. Regardless of what it takes, I will make it work. And then we are moving into the age of, I'm not happy. I need to be happy. I'm a human being in this relationship. I need you to see me as a human being. It's not just about, and it is good, but finding the balance is essential, because too much of everything is bad. Many people walk out of what would be wonderful because they just did not have the patience to stay. So for me, it is extremely important that we balance self and not become selfish. Like, we take care of self, but we don't become selfish in a relationship. Because the relationship is not just about your happiness. Many people complaining, if you hear the other person's conversation, you will start pitying the other person. Like, let's say a man is complaining. If you hear the woman talk, you will start wondering, Oga, now what you do be this? So both parties, if we continue to be selfish, we will not join together.
Okay, let me dig further. Let's take a deeper dive into what you're saying, because there is that, you're saying we should have a balance between that seek for happiness and that staying power. Now, sometimes people say we have that sacrifice. You make a sacrifice. I mean, Nima has used that word several times. As a family, you sacrifice for, yes, so you want happiness, but for the sake of the children, for the sake of all the other stakeholders in this union, I, as a woman, I'm willing to sacrifice this thing you call happiness, this equilibrium that I'm looking for. I'm willing to sacrifice that for my children to be raised in a home that is well structured and they have everything they need. That's a lot of choices people make. And many today, we say, oh, our mothers stayed because they made those choices, and some of us are better for it. But now, today, why are we modern women finding it difficult to have that same staying power? Because, oh, we have options, we have education, we can actually move out because we can have our own job, we can have our own car. Is that the problem?
Not exactly that. So our own generation, some women die from some of these conditions and say, hey, what's the next option. So we grew up with the door for the next option open. I had said to myself, never will I allow physical abuse. Because, you know, I didn't even think emotional abuse was possible, but I saw physical abuse lead to death. I saw somebody beat somebody, punch their head, hit it, and suddenly we're dealing with murder. And I said to myself, if this door closes, there's no point. In fact, initially, at 16, I used to say, marriage is not for me. So my mother had to do a lot of counseling, and I then started to pray towards the choice that I will end up with. So for most of us, the reality of that is not what we want to risk anybody's well-being for. But our generation of mothers, they just learned to disappear. Some just learned to lose self to give. So some would just become slaves in the home. Some women slept. I know today a modern woman who left her house because she was sleeping in the store to stay with her children. In a wealthy man's house, why do you have to sleep like a slave? Taking out a woman's dignity. Why does she have to, you know, she can't even cook a meal for her family. The meal is not, there's no family meal, but she just wanted to stay with her children. And eventually when she weighed it and things were not improving, she walked out. She's Catholic. She's not supposed to leave. And you know, when I sat with her, I said, leaving was the best thing. She's found herself. But those days, our mothers will stay, lose themselves. They become a shadow of themselves. Eventually, they're not giving enough to their children. It takes a child to now mature. The child now goes through counseling to walk back and understand both parents. The damage was now too much. So it's not like the sacrifices they made did not help eventually. Okay, but some damages would have, collateral damages would have happened with it. Let's
go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. All right, so we're still discussing Olori Naomi's message yesterday about her divorce with the Ooni of Ife. But I said, we're not going to focus on the king right now because we're yet to hear officially from his own perspective. However, I want to just dissect a bit from what she said and the revelations she allegedly made, because I was still saying that just in case her Twitter account was hacked. She said something which I thought was interesting. She said that I did my best to endure and make it work. Many times I smiled through the struggle, but I finally realized I had just one assignment, my son. And when God is done, he is done. So when a woman says, I smiled through the struggle. Now, we've all had struggles one way or the other in this thing called marriage. I have shared my story several times. But must a struggle end in a divorce? And I think that's where we're saying, that's what we're trying to say, that we all somehow struggle. So is it this new idea of I must be emancipated, I must be happy, my happiness is paramount? Is that the new thing? Or should we retrace? I mean, I just need some kind of understanding. Yes, Mariam, let me start with Mariam.
So for me is, you may be struggling and smiling through the struggle. That's acceptable, that's okay when you're trying to work towards something. Most things that are important, you have to work through the fire, you know, to finally, you know, achieve, you know, the end positive result. But in a marriage, you can't do it alone. The person struggling, are you struggling and the other person is not struggling? Are you passing through this fire and the other person is not passing through the fire and thinking, whenever you're ready, you know, I don't have your time, I'm not. So it has to be, in a marriage, it has to be, I'm doing this for us. One person cannot work at a marriage. The marriage is of two people. If only one person is interested in walking through the fire, then there's nothing to walk. Then when you walk through that fire, who would you meet at the end? That means that person is not on the other side waiting for you to pass through the fire and we continue this journey together. So I think people are leaving because they understand there's no partnership here, there's no companionship here. But also what I've learned is sometimes the other person is so oblivious of what is happening, doesn't pay attention until the person takes that step or threatens to take the step. And then they're like, okay, I must have done something really bad. I find it a lot, especially with maybe older men and younger women, because I'm married to an older man. And the thing is, you're a small girl. What is your problem? What do you want? Do you understand? So we get that where they don't think whatever you want.
Nothing.
Yes. And everything you're telling them, we've heard this before, we've done, it's not a big deal. There's an end to this thing. So what is it? So maybe he now needs to understand, yes, she may be a younger girl, but she's my wife now.
Valid.
Yes, and she has valid, and I would sit down and walk through it, and that's something we had to, and I feel my husband had to learn with me, which is, you're just a small girl. Yeah. No, I'm your wife as well.
Your thoughts on this?
So we are in the age of the powerful woman. We are in the age of the emancipated woman. We are in the age where a woman earns almost as much as men. Maybe not equal in terms of the equal circumstances, but we have more rich women than we've ever had in history. So this is, and there is a lot of funding for women, there's a lot of support for women, there's a lot of canvassing. If a woman moves on from marriage, people look at her and say, you try, you feel waka. Like, we don't question anymore the way we used to question. We don't insult women that leave marriages the way we used to insult. So this is the age of the woman, which is a good thing and could be bad. It also, for me, I'm at the place I'm looking at it that women, we are now so strong that if I'm not comfortable, I can rent a house within the same estate that I used to marry, that I was staying with my husband. I can afford it. I can pay the rent. I can send my children to the same school and I can pay the school fees. I can walk away from this marriage.
Simple.
Which has changed, because before, we didn't have a choice. Women had to stay because they couldn't afford to pay rent, they couldn't afford to pay school fees. So it was, a lot of times, I think that it will help reshape how men see marriages now. Because before, men used to take it for granted that when they are married, their wife will stay. I'm doing a favor. But now men understand and begin to understand the fact that my wife can single-handedly run this house, move on with her family, move on with her life. You know, I must be willing to put more into this relationship.
Let me give an example of what you just said. I just saw a video this morning. I thought the video was such a beautiful video. For those of you on social media, it was Yabo Ojo's daughter. She was crying. I don't know what's
birthday was recent.
Was it? I don't know. But I just saw the girl crying and thanking her mother. I love you so much. I love you so much. She was crying. Her mother was crying. And you could see the love, the genuine love between mother and child. The single mother. And she has raised that child to a point of a good, responsible young girl and a young boy. So, listen, it's not until you have a man-woman in a relationship that you get a good, fantastic child. So, the story is changing. So, I think men should now begin to see that, listen, you need to be the one to sit up now, because these women can actually do it. They can actually go it alone. That's the reality.
And
I think I want us to get to.
Levels should change. So, you know what we've been saying? All of us have echoed it. Marriage doesn't work until two people work. There are two people in a relationship. One person cannot make it work. So it's important the second person understands that I must be committed to making this work. Now, let's take it to the Olori case. See, when you marry a king, oh no. You know, we've discussed it. It's a totally different thing.
I think she knows that.
When you marry a king, it's a totally different thing.
The point is,
you will know beforehand that there was, you know, we said it with the FFK story. When there's already someone on the scene before, and something happened, you must investigate, you must be ready. You must know that, am I ready? Do I understand the entirety of the drama that took place beforehand?
Let me pause it for you. Nima, do you think she did not know what she was getting into? I mean,
when you are marrying a king.
She said it in the report herself. She said the women, all the
side attractions
had always been there, and that's not the problem. So we're talking now, when people was talking about, and you mentioned Oyabojo, single mothers' capability to raise children as, you know, the problem. It might just be emotional problem. Do you know how it feels just here? You matter. Exactly. In the face of all the matter and the craze in the house, and the man says to his wife, you're the most important thing to me. That means you have value beyond what you think you're bringing physically. Yes. Before you bring food. So men used to think love was provision.
Yes.
Comfort. I'm giving you all. And so there's a missing emotional link that women are just, because that's our own need. And we're just, you know, I'm not happy, I'm not happy. A woman can be, you know, covered in comfort, trips abroad, everything, and she's not happy. Yeah. She's wondering, and the man connects more. Maybe you have a thing happening to you. I had a situation once. My husband wasn't feeling well. And I was like, you need to go to the hospital. And he just wasn't talking to me. So I got up to get, you know, first aid. And on my way back, I met my in-law with money. Where are you going? He said, I'm trying to get my brother a drug. I said, excuse me. Which brother are we talking about? Yeah. So I went home, I locked the door, locked everywhere, sent my kids' house. Uncle, this conversation has to happen. I've been talking to you for 2 days. You did not tell me what is wrong with you. You see your brother immediately and he's buying you drugs. You want to give me a bad name?
We fought that battle too. They are closer to their brothers.
I'm telling you, they're closer to... So a woman can be in that old drama and be wondering, when do I come in? What's my value? And she's lost. So for some men, it's not provision. You see, the money has never been an issue. The issue is connection. For someone like her, this is the Ooni. He's what do you call it, Kejosha, and that those kind of demystifying, demystifying things around him. But she's a woman. There's that after the door closes, after everybody and the noise goes.
You and I.
That you and I relationship that can be missing, and it's enough to drown women. In fact, it drowns women.
And that's why I'll go to also their age. Is there a friendship? Does he really see her as an equal? That's even outside the crown and everything. When we're left together, are we friends? Are we talking to each other? And then, you know, many times we talk about, oh, women are now empowered, and almost make it seem that an empowered woman is just waiting for you to make a tiny mistake so she can go away. It's not that. It's like what we said in the beginning. There are different things on that list for marriage now that we want. It used to be tall, dark, and handsome with money. It's now supportive, it's now companionship, it's now friendship. So for a man who doesn't give that as well, is not fully committed in a marriage as much as the woman is, he would have a problem. And until he understands that it's beyond provision, just as you have mentioned, there will always be a problem. And I think men also are getting to that point. I'm seeing like more of the younger men in their late 20s, in their 30s, I think they understand that conversation now. Because it's no longer a conversation about how much money you have. There used to be a time when it was, what do you bring to the table? But what do you bring to the table is a lot more than how much money are you bringing to the table? Exactly. What commitments are you willing to have, you know, to make towards this marriage? And when we have our children, this is how we want to raise our children. That's another thing I see that is a problem in marriages now. This is how I want our children to be raised. This is the sort of schools that I want our children to go to. These are the sort of things that I would like for our family to do, to be involved in together. Is he part, that man, is he part of this vision for that family?
Okay, so I'll come to you in a second, but I wanted to also bring in the perspective of, there's another queen somewhere in the background.
Side attraction.
Side attraction trying to come inside, because we need to talk to each other. Because 3 people are passed now, that same place, and they've gone first, second, and third. You will now come with your 2 left legs and say, I want to be queen of somebody, queen, you know, you want to be the next queen. But what should this next queen, whoever it is that wants to be or is thinking about that opportunity, should be looking out for? I mean, should we just say, okay, there's an opportunity, let me enter? Because we just enter these things blindly. We don't look deeper.
So that's what I was going to say, that I'm by my wiring, naturally, I'm a very romantic person. I want love. I love love. That's my place. However, it's not everybody that will get into that space. Some people would marry for other reasons. And you must understand, I am marrying to become the queen. I'm not expecting companionship. I'm not necessarily expecting this lovey-dovey is not going to happen. This man is a king. He has lots of responsibilities. They will throw everything. It's like you're marrying a celebrity, like who is in the stardom space. Like that's like you're married to Wizkid right now. You should know. You're not the only one married to Wizkid. It's like you're married to Davido. You should know. Go and ask Chioma. You are not the only one. There are many people when they are in that. So you must, if you cannot deal with it, then don't enter into that space.
She's telling us, I already know.
No. So what I'm saying is that you must understand.
Let me just add this, because it's in what she said. And I think the reason she mentioned it is so that people will not think that this was an arranged marriage. So it's not an arranged marriage. It is, he came and he asked me. So he knew, he wanted me.
Yes.
Because if it's an arranged marriage, we've talked about arranged marriages all the time. If it's an arranged marriage, you know what the expectations are. These are the things that you're going to provide for me, and this is it. But you have come to me as a man looking to a woman, and you want to be with her, meaning that the expectations are different from... This is it. I'll put you on a throne, and then that's it.
Of course, now if you are dating that well,
we are discussing like this is an ideal situation.
Let's go on a break. Thanks for staying with us. So before the break, we're talking about, you know, the fact that this alleged divorce that the Queen posted on her social media page, and we're discussing about it. And as I said, we don't want to focus so much on intricacies of the marriage or the parts of the king himself. We're waiting for further news from the palace on this matter, but we're just dissecting this new wave of women and the fact that should men begin to accept the fact that there are more educated women who are willing to raise amazing children as single mothers. And these children will still be responsible adults. They won't have any emotional breakdowns. We know they come with all these stories that once you come from a broken home, that's something you're not a perfect child. No, that's not true.
That's not true.
Children come out from broken homes and they're still well-rounded children in every way. So should we begin to accept this new wave of this is the reality on ground? If a man cannot live up to his own abilities or expectations, then the woman can decide for herself to step aside. So is this a new...
Well, let me quickly jump on this one, because women also destroy marriages. Women also have excesses. Women also, when you're so engrossed in these emotions, sometimes you're not seeing the effort of the other person. And you know, most men don't even... Like, you know, Topa was saying, if you hear the other side, most men don't are not able to say their own side for the fear of looking weak. And they can also be good parents. Because what we get from this side of the thoughts that's from women's side is that I'm the only best parent for my children. I'm the only one who can give them the best. And then eventually, you're taking away paternal care and provision and support. I'm talking emotional, not only material, for the children. You're saying, when I walk away, I can raise good children. Are you saying that the partner you chose early is not a fit parent? Did you not see that?
We didn't used to answer those questions
And so
before.
we don't answer those questions. At the end of the day, the child is at the receiving end of that decision you're making. You know, we started with selflessness in marriage. Putting everybody's needs, not just emotions now, needs both financial, material, and emotional together in thoughts before you reach that decision.
Nima, I'm trying.
You can be a good person.
So...
You might not necessarily be a good parent.
Yes.
And the person you're condemning for not being a good person might just be a perfect parent and not just a good partner to you.
I was going to use an example, and I'm trying to really know how to use the example. It's a private and personal example, but I'm trying to see how I can do it where people can take the lessons from it. Let me think of how I'm going to say it.
Let me share this story. Sometimes people, we are not perfect. Like every party, even in our personalities, we're not perfect. We as good people, like a very good person, is still not perfect. So you are married to someone who has anger problems, but he's a wonderful person. He don't beat you. He will not touch you. But he shouts. He will lash out. He will go crazy. But he is a wonderful father. He's super supportive, but when he's angry and it might be embarrassing for you. Maybe you're at a party and he just lashes out and shouts and all of that. And then he's like, I'm so sorry, like, I just got angry. And like, he apologized to everybody and he's like, jolly good after that. But he's wonderful in all perspective. Then what we then do as women is sometimes we harp on that one weakness. That he's probably working on, that he has acknowledged that this is my weakness, I know. I'm actually working on it. And then we say, after 10 years of marriage, every time you're angry, you will still shout at me. I cannot take this anymore. Is this how I'm going to continue in this marriage? Would I be the one they'll be shouting at all the time? Is this going to, like, we will not make it look like that is the only thing about the marriage.
You know, thank you.
And it takes time. I have seen that happen real life. Like it now took counseling to make the person list other things and help them focus their attention on other things.
Let me even use myself
and then the man now
now
pointed finger to the guy and said, you two, you have your own.
Let me even use myself as an example. And I've shared this testimony before. Because people see my marriage today and say, oh, Mr. Brown is such a nice guy. And I'm thinking, yeah, he is. He's a nice guy. But you guys, if you knew Mr. Brown when I knew Brown, half the women that are celebrating me today and say, oh, Ryle, you're so lucky, oh, hey, all that on social media. You wouldn't have, many women would probably have not stayed with Brown. Because when I met Brown was living in a, like I've said it before, like a 6x6 kind of little place. And I told you guys, the first day I entered that place, I almost threw up. I was like, what was this? It was just him and his brother there. It was just a mattress on the floor. Everything was over. He had lost his job. He didn't have anything.
It was honest.
It was like the big queue of a place that somebody abandoned and just gave somebody. And it was just there by himself. I entered there and I was like, what in the... I couldn't even sit down. It was that bad. I got home that day and I told my mother, I'm not sure it's going to work. My mother now sat me down. Okay, so what did you say his parents are from again? I told her. How many are they in their family? I told her. What do they do? She now interviewed me. She said, listen, he has everything. This is a phase. It will get, don't worry. This is just a phase. Because we actually had to discuss it because I was traumatized. By God's special grace and mercy, today, my husband testified that he just bought a house for his family in church. And when he was making the testimony, I was remembering that place. I can call it a rat hole today because thank God now I can say it's a rat hole. But there, because honestly, I wouldn't stay there. I couldn't sit down.
Well, here we are today.
But by God's grace. So the point is that if the women who are saying today, oh, I cannot handle it, if they are complimenting it today,
on social media,
if they had met him then,
they would have.
I saw the very first date, and I saw this guy's collar was totally like, I'm like, you know, he was saying, I'm a lawyer. And then I saw his collar. His collar was totally, I'm like, and I said, Uncle, you don't have a job. You got to tell me the truth. So the point I'm trying to make is that there are sacrifices we all make. We all have struggles. And those struggles are real.
Some people would have checked out.
But
I just want to say something, which is, yes, the finances were not okay. Yes. And your mom helped you to redirect your focus on what was important, his character, his potential, where he was going, the sort of family that he came from, and so, of course, the sort of man he was growing up to become. But one thing with, if you had met him and he was so rich, would you have had a conversation where they would focus you on his character?
No.
You see, that's something, you would have been distracted by the money.
Exactly.
And you would not sit down and find out, is he an honest person? Does he have integrity? Is he working towards something?
So it's a blessing sometimes when you see the man go through that. So it's an opportunity. Fantastic.
And but then we should also teach our women to be able to ask the right question even when they are rich.
That's what I'm saying. You know I said earlier that we need to teach our children to pick, to choose right. What are the things that you're looking for in a man? It is not the material, whether he has it or he does not have it. It's who he is, where he's headed, the sort of person he is with himself. Does he have discipline? Does he have self-discipline? Your husband works out. Me, I have always just admired people, and I have respect for people that take out time to take care of themselves. People like that have self-discipline. They are going, you know, they're going somewhere. And so they'll put that in, and it will reflect in other parts of their lives.
Let me talk about the self-discipline. This guy, since I've met this guy, he hasn't bought clothes for himself. Like, you will see him, he's probably working the same thing every single day. And what do you say about you last year? But every penny he has, he saves it. He doesn't touch it.
Takes care of his children.
It only takes, he doesn't, I mean, I have never seen somebody more disciplined. Use the word disciplined. Extremely disciplined.
Morayo.
So I'm talking about women. Yes, they are not perfect men out there. Trust me. And they are not perfect women out there either. But we should not lose sight of those hard
At the trying time of my marriage, there was something I did. I was in the car on my way to work with my neighbor, and I was saying, this marriage, I've asked for divorce, I just need it out. Because it was tough at some point. My own marriage, may God not visit some of the trials I had to go through on anyone I know. And I just said to myself, I said, I have a man who, no matter what happens, cares about my well-being, my comfort, my peace of mind. My children don't have to hang and we're waiting when will daddy do this. And that quality from day one, I saw it when I could not focus on, when I didn't, because I'm not materialistic really. Yes. I didn't have to focus on other things. But that's one thing, that compassion, that courtesy, kindness was not missing. I was sharing an account with my friend who recently said, I don't have these insecurities that you're talking about, cheerful, this. I don't know how it is. I can only tell you from the one I saw in the movie. But you see, in this, my own marriage, it doesn't happen. And so when a girl is growing up, yes, you can have big dreams. Let them be your own dreams. Yeah, but don't say that the man I marry, where is your house again? It's not Ikoyi.
I like how you put that.
Because it might just not fill in the gap for the other vacancies that you're not looking at. When those ones can't hit you, you will hit your head over and over. Let me take this call, my dear. But let's remind ourselves that we're not saying that's what's happening with we're just talking having general here. So people don't think that this is what is because she's living for her. Let me take Adebayo from Ikotsu. Good morning, Adebayo. Are you there?
Good morning,
sir. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning. Good morning, Auntie Lema, everybody there. Happy Christmas in advance.
Yes, sir.
Happy New Year. Yes, I appreciate your comment over there. I appreciate everything there. Well done.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Any messages on this before we go on a break? Bringing us your first time caller. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Oh, he's hoping you'll be the one to get the prize.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, God will bless you. God will bless your family, everybody over there.
Mr. Deba, you know what? You're going to be our first prize winner today. Please, let's give him a congratulations. Mr. Debayo. Mr. Debayo, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
You're going to be our winner of our Eleganza gift this morning. Just because you're the first caller.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank
So our producers will take your number, and we'll see how you can have them pick up the gifts from Eleganza this morning.
You are blessed.
Thank God. God bless you.
Thank you. Auntie Lema.
Okay. Let's take a few messages and it's going to break, bring in our celebrity guest.
Mount Rushmore, is this still on?
Go ahead.
Mount Rushmore says, most times it is so. My dad came from a broken home and I suffered the consequence growing up. I am grateful my parents are still together though. Bilikis says, since he was doing so great before things went sour, he probably would have ended up with a woman who only wanted his fine face and loaded pockets. Maybe that's for the only.
Okay, let's go on a break. I seriously doubt if the Olori was there because of the money. As she said, he came for her, right? And obviously, and she knew they were beside attractions. So the issue is not the side attractions. Because I got messages here saying that maybe she was just jealous of other women. No, she wasn't. She already, it comes with the territory if you're going to marry the king. But according to her, there is more to this, which we don't know. Maybe we'll discuss whenever the story is revealed. We'll discuss it. But for now, we're going to go on a break. When we come back, we'll bring in our celebrity guest and hear his thoughts on this. Stay with us. We'll be right back. How you doing? I know you've been in the beginning of the show, so you've been hearing all our conversation concerning Olori Naomi.
Yes. So
in your view, I mean, when a woman is just tired, I mean, this, as I said, we don't have the details yet, but this woman just expressed displeasure, discomfort, and she's tired. She wants to move on. I mean, is this a new trend for women to begin to consider when you're really tired in a marriage?
Thank you. I just want to say hello to all our viewers. It's been a while. I hope you're all enjoying your view.
Yes.
In my view, I've heard it all from all of you. And, well, if it is true that such a thing happened, it's not new. And we're in a new world. We're actually in a new world. You see, marriage is a formula. It's what I call STEP, S-T-E-P-P. That's, you have to sleep together.
Okay.
You have to talk together. You have to eat together. You have to pray and play together. So, and when any one of those is missing, that's the beginning of the end. And actually, in those days, you know, our parents, like you all said, they will endure it to the end. Like my mom, for instance, she endured to the end. But these days, we're in a micro world, microwave world that, you know, we want to see it happen and in our own way. Well, it has happened. If it has happened, like everyone has been, like the rumor has been going on, it's not new. We're in a westernized world. You know, want to be, I've stayed in the US for a long time. I know how it happens. Just like what you said, a woman can decide just today to pack and move to within the same estate, they can begin to live together. I mean, they see that it's an individual thing now. We don't look at what the society will say. We don't look at what this other person will feel.
All right, so we just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.